Now for row 1, I'm going to single crochet 10 around the edge of this toe, and we're going to start building the boot up back this way. So I'm just going to start in the same stitch I slip stitched into with a single crochet, and then I'm going to do 9 more around the front of the toe. At the end of row 1, now that I've done 10 single crochets, I'm going to turn my work and chain 1. You can chain at the end of row 2 or at the beginning of row 3, it really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to single crochet in each of the stitches I created in the previous row. So that makes 10 stitches right here, and now I'm going to show you how to do something that we're going to continue to do all along the entirety of the boot toe. And that is that we're going to single crochet 2 together on the sole. So I'm looking for the first single crochet after where my hook is, the next one here, and then the following one after that. And we're going to do a single crochet 2 together in those stitches. So I'm going to pull my yarn through the first single crochet. Without pulling it through again, I'm going to go through the next stitch. So now I have 3 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through all 3 loops. So I've taken 2 stitches that were on the sole and made them into 1. And after that, we're going to do 2 more regular single crochets on the sole. So in this row, we've worked a total of 13 stitches. I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work now. So this is row 3, and we're going to single crochet in each of the previous stitches. So that's 13 from the last row. And just like I did in row 2, I'm going to do a single crochet 2 together with the next 2 stitches on the sole. So I'm putting my hook through, picking up a loop, putting it through the next stitch, picking up a loop, and then I'm yarning over and going through all 3 loops that are on my hook. So we've done a single crochet 2 together right there, and then we're going to do 2 more single crochets into the sole. Now when I'm doing these single crochet 2 together, I'm trying to make the loops as even as I can so that when I pull the yarn through, I get a fairly smooth decrease right there. And if you pull it through and it doesn't look smooth, just take it out and try again. It's sort of just trial and error, especially with this chunky yarn, just to mask the decreases. So now we're going to chain 1 again, and in row 4, we're going to single crochet in all of the stitches of the previous row. So a total of 16 single crochets. Now, just like we have in previous rows, we're going to do the decrease onto the sole. So I'm going to pull a loop through the next stitch, again, pull a loop through, and complete that single crochet 2 together right here. And then for this row, I'm going to single crochet 3 onto the sole. For row 5, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet 5. And after we've single crocheted 5, I'm going to do a single crochet decrease, which is single crochet 2 together, just like we've been doing onto the sole. But we're going to start tapering this in so that it lays flat against your foot. So I'm going to pull my yarn through and then pull my yarn through again on the next stitch, so that when I pull through here, I've created 1 single crochet stitch out of the 2 stitches that were here. And I'm going to put a stitch marker right here in the top of the stitch that I just created. So this is the single crochet 2 together, and I'm going to put a stitch marker right there. That's going to show me where to decrease in the future. So from there, I'm going to single crochet 6 more stitches. And then I'm going to do another single crochet decrease just like I did over here. So I'm going to go through the next stitch, pull a loop out, and again through the next stitch, pull a loop through, and then yarn over and go through all of those 3 loops, creating another decrease right here. And I'm going to put a stitch marker on the top of that stitch I just created. And then we're going to single crochet 5 more stitches to complete this previous row, and then again we will single crochet 2 together onto the sole and continue with 3 more stitches on the sole. Moving on to row 6, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to work in single crochet until 1 stitch remains before the marker. So I'm going to single crochet all of this until there's 1 unworked stitch before the marker. So now that we've made it to 1 stitch before the marked stitch, I'm going to remove the marker, and then I'm going to do a single crochet decrease. So I'm going to single crochet 2 together in the next 2 stitches. So I pulled my loop through there, and again in the second stitch, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through all 3 of those loops, and then I'm going to place my marker back in that stitch I just created. So then I'll know on the next row where I need to do a decrease. And again, I'm going to single crochet until 1 stitch before the marker. Again, I'm going to remove the marker so I can do a single crochet 2 together, yarning over and pulling through, yarning over and pulling through, and then I'll complete the decrease right here, place my marker back in the top of that stitch I just created, and then I'm going to finish this row by crocheting all the remaining stitches from the previous row. Again, I'm going to single crochet 2 together onto the sole, and then I'll continue with 5 single crochet on the sole. Row 7 is going to be worked in the same way that row 6 was, so we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet until 1 stitch before the marker, do a decrease in these 2 stitches, single crochet to 1 stitch before the marker, do a decrease right here, single crochet the rest of this row, and then do a single crochet 2 together onto the sole, just like we've done in previous rows, and then single crochet 5 stitches on the sole. For row 8, I've removed the stitch markers from the toe and placed 1 at the back of the heel in the center. So I'm going to chain 1, and for row 8, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way over here, where we're going to do the single crochet 2 together into the sole. So that'll be a decrease, and then we're going to single crochet all the way back to the marked stitch. Here I am at the end of row 8, and I'm just going to stop 1 stitch before the marked stitch. So I'll save that for the next row. And on row 9, what we're going to do is single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and then do the single crochet 2 together into the sole, just like we've done before, and then single crochet the rest of these stitches, including the marked stitch, so that we meet back with this row at the very back of the heel. So here we are at the end of row 9, and this was my marked stitch, and this is the stitch before it. So I'm stopping with 2 stitches here, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do, because this side has had 1 more row on it than this side, so we need to elevate it up. In the grand scheme of the boot, it's not going to make a big difference, but we want to have a smooth transition as we start to go around this area. So in the second to last stitch, I'm going to do a half double crochet, and then I'm going to do a double crochet in the last stitch, and that's going to just bring my row up a little bit higher so that I can smoothly transition to this next stitch, and I'm going to be connecting these 2 rows. So this is technically the beginning of row 10. And I'm going to slip stitch here. And then in the next stitch, notice I haven't turned, I'm just going to start single crocheting. And now we've joined these. If you want to take a little tapestry needle and yarn and tighten that up, you can, but I don't think this is ever going to be noticeable once the whole boot is crocheted. So to do row 10 now, we're going to just single crochet all the way around the entire boot back here. So let's put a marker in this first stitch of the round. This is the slip stitch where we joined them, and then we'll remember where we started. So we're going to head all the way around and end in the stitch before the marker. All right, now I'm at the end of row 10, and it's fine to remove your stitch marker now because we're not going to be pausing at the back of the heel anymore, so it doesn't really matter if we know what our first stitch of the round was right here.